Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be in Atoka today. I look forward to coming down into southeastern Oklahoma and talking more about the Jefferson Highway and all the real exciting things that are going on in Oklahoma especially, but also up and down the route. I first got involved in the Jefferson Highway back about 2014. And like a lot of you, I made this question. I've never heard of the Jefferson Highway. It just wasn't something I knew of. I'm an historian by trade. I've been involved in a lot of historic organizations in Oklahoma, different facets of history. In my community, I've written 2 books on the history of my community, Muskogee. But, I had touched on the history, but I really didn't know a lot about it. And a good friend of mine who has passed away, who was involved here in Oklahoma quite a bit, Glenn Smith, passed away several years ago. He said, Roger, I wonder if you've ever heard of this, and we're going to possibly have a 100th anniversary centennial celebration a few years ago. We wondered if Muskogee might be interested in being involved in that. Little did I know that would change a lot of my focus for many years, and it's been really a learning experience, a lot of fun, and I really look forward for the future as things are really starting to progress now, especially here in Oklahoma. A little bit of background. This is not an historic program as such, but I think it's important to understand the history of the highway. From pine to palm was the term of the highway. It was started in 1915. The gentleman who we would know as the founder of Better Homes and Gardens, Edwin Thomas Meredith, came up with the idea to do a north-south national route across the country. The Lincoln Highway, which was the east-west route, this is well before Route 66, and such highways, was being developed, but this is one of the first north-south highway routes in the country's history to be developed. Now, highways were not developed like they are today. They were basically a promote yourself type deal. So they went in and they had a convention in New Orleans in 1915 to establish a route, and all kind of states fought over the route. Arkansas and Oklahoma fought over the routing intensely. And a gentleman from my community by the name of David Fink went down there, brought over 100 people from Muskogee. They brought people from Atoka, all different places in the whole state went down to New Orleans at the original convention, and they got this route through Oklahoma. And the route was established, and it was pretty much gravel, dirt roads. It was the good roads time period. There was no state funding for federal roads like that. It was counties working together, communities working together, finding ways to get this route. So they used a lot of the routing at that time of wherever the roads were the best. But Muskogee was one of the cardinal points that they wanted to have the route through in the original record of the highway. And Atoka fought for part of it at various times to get routed through here, and they were successful. You see up on the very top where the original Jefferson, that's an original one. There's several of those that still exist. I have a replica over there. But this is one of the first times. At one time, there were thousands of those across the route from pine to palm. And you can kind of get an idea of the route here. This is this is actually from the original publications of the Jefferson Highway, the original route guides. You'll see I won't get into that, there's some complications in Missouri where they fought over the route. They finally just decided to give them both the route. And you could pick which side you wanted to go on. But today, I've driven probably 80% of it, maybe 90% of it. Some of my friends have driven 100%, but all the way starting from Winnipeg and all the way into Again, it was really formed a lot with a lot of Oklahoma leadership. This man here I told you about, Mr. Fink, who was the commercial bank president in Muskogee. He became a huge leader and became the second president of the association. And the convention in 1916 actually was in Muskogee at the Cedars Hotel there, and hundreds of people came across. But you can see all kind of different things in this time period in different places, including here in Atoka. The Great Book Highway is now to be located in the county. The Oklahoma route, this is not the best map, really, to be honest with you, but I don't even spell my town. But anyway, we'll use it because it kind of gives you an idea, a little bit about what the route. A lot of people will say it's 6975. It is, but it differs from the main highways. We try to get you off in the original routes, and we try to go through some areas, basically through right down the heart of communities. The 4-lane highways, what do? They bypass our communities. They changed our downtown. They changed our deal. When we wrap this, it will go right through the heart of your communities. Atoka was embraced it early. I have several pictures of Atoka. This is actually the road superintendent here in his own Jefferson Highway car, taken here in Atoka. So as you see, this is the land of sunshine. I don't know if you use this now, but the land of sunshine and balmy climate. Now, it is kind of sunshine and balmy today. But Atoka County is located on the Jefferson Highway. It was important. So the Great Highways was here. After they formed the highway, one of the issues was, how do people find where they are? How do they travel around? People would get lost, and this was not only for this highway, but a lot of it. It was kind of a new thing. We think of it today, but most of the transportation before this was railroad, or the cars were coming big, and good roads were important. And one of the first things we saw when we talked about these signs, they were put up along the route, and you would know what direction. If you went that way, you were going toward Winnipeg, and you went that way, you were going to New Orleans. And we created those now. So one of the first things they did was the pole painting. I brought a replica pole. It's kind of I always bring it with me. It's kind of my good luck charm. Poles. We have several of them up and down the route. We have some of them in my town. Some of them might be a little bit outlawed. I don't know, but this is in Iowa. This gentleman's painting a pole along the route in Iowa. This is actually in Iowa, where there's actually original Jefferson Highway marker is still there. But they had specific directions you had to do, and where you put it, and the regulations were fascinating kind of to see that. Here's some pictures of old pole markers. This one is in Bonita. Here, this one actually is in St. Joseph, Missouri. Here's one from my hometown in Muskogee. Anybody have an idea where that is? That's the Red River Bridge going across. And this gentleman right here was from Minnesota, and he was the pole painter and marker, and he had a car, and his job was he contracted to go along and paint the poles, he and his brother. And we just put a new exhibit in the museum in Muskogee about their history, because they kept a journal of their whole travel. There's markers along the route today, up and down, more and more coming. We love to see them. We post a lot of them on our Facebook pages and so on. Shakota is a community that's really embraced the Jefferson Highway. They have it all the way marked to their community now. This is in Colo, Iowa, which is the crossing of the Lincoln and the Jefferson, at a wonderful gas station, wonderful lodging there, great restaurant, one of the principal places to go along the route. They're putting up the signs, replicas here in Leon, Iowa. Iowa has the whole marked, the only state that has it completely marked now. It happened about 3 years ago. And when you drive into Iowa now, you'll see signage along the route. Here I am in City, Missouri, and in Jackson, Missouri. So there's tons of those that are starting to show up. This is kind of when they were trying to promote the highway in the early days, what they did, what we call sociability runs, where they would just, in fact, the principal of Winnipeg drove all the way down the route, and he drove through Atoka. They would come in and they would promote the highway. So they had 2 or 3 or 4 of these that were major deals, and then they would do their own little sociability runs. This one is in Caddo of that same event. This is the principal of Manitoba coming in to Eufaula, Oklahoma, and then they're in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is one of the big towns in Iowa. So you know, I'm just going to take you a little bit of a drive because a lot of people don't know how fun. You know, we hear a lot about Route 66 and all the fun of going there. This is really, you know, I've driven the whole route, and I can tell you this is really more of an authentic America. The culture from all the way from northern Minnesota to southern Louisiana is so diverse. There's so many interesting things along the route that it's really, really quite. And it's amazing how many things are still there at some capacity. Of course, we've lost them. But you can start in Winnipeg on Horton Street, and you can actually see the Pine to Palm Highway marker there and stop right there, and there it is. And you can start at the marker there where the start of the Jefferson Highway was. You can go into beautiful Minnesota. This is, I didn't even show all this, but within just a mile of this is the start of the Mississippi River. You can walk across the Mississippi River and a little stream that goes through there. That's where the Mississippi River starts. And it's just right on the Jefferson Highway. In fact, we have a lot of postcards that show this park as part of Jefferson Highway. Minneapolis, you can go through there and see the falls. This is my son on our trip we took in 2017. Here we see the Welcome to Minnesota sign that was on the Jefferson Highway when they completed the route between Iowa and Minnesota. And here's my son today. You can go there to the same place. Iconic place to stay is in Mason City, Iowa, where this is the only remaining Frank Lloyd Wright designed hotel in the United States. It is operational. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. It will be the site of our 2023 national conference, and it's really an unbelievable place to go to. So we're looking forward to going there with our group this year. We talked about the Reed Island Corner in Iowa and Polo. This is just a portion of it. This is the gas station. And you can go down further. I don't have Des Moines on here, but you can have the birthplace of Negro League Baseball is actually right on the route in Kansas City. You have the World War I Museum in Kansas City. You have the World War II Museum in New Orleans. You have Lamar, Missouri. You have the beautiful courthouses. You can't tell you how many beautiful courthouses there are on the route. Then we're getting into Oklahoma, and you know, I'm just going to throw you a few things. This is actually one of the crossroads of another highway called the Ozark Trail. They had these pyramids up at one time like this, and they would have this is a wonderful picture here with that. And then this is where it is today. The pyramids sadly are gone, but still a pretty cool place. Wagner, you know, I could go on and on about some of the different towns. Okay, Oklahoma, not much there today, I guess, but they once had a large truck factory there where they produced trucks, and there's still remnants of it you can see right on the route. My hometown has the only remaining tourist camp building, and tourist camps were fascinating to me. I collect tourist camp postcards across the route, always looking for something different. But people couldn't afford, as they were getting automobiles and starting to purchase them, and they were becoming more and more prevalent. A lot of these people wanted to get out and wanted to drive. Let's drive. Let's go see some places. They necessarily couldn't stay in the finest hotels on the route, and they didn't want to. Some of them wanted to just have the adventure. So at first, a lot of them would just camp on the road. So auto camping became very, very popular with Model T riders and other early automobiles. But what happened is all these communities started going up, and let's make this a kind of a precursor to a motel. They would do a tourist camp. People would come there, they had camping gear, tents, all kind of things were sold for these campers at that time. And this is a remaining tourist camp building that still stands. It has been restored. We were able to mark it a few years ago. You can go there today. There is a tourist camp brochure that tells every tourist camp on Jefferson Highway from 1920. So you can. I didn't look it up at Atoka's, but I'm sure Atoka had one at one time. This is the site of the 1916 Jefferson Highway Convention in Muskogee, Oklahoma. There it is today. Dakota is the Oddfellow, the home right on the route. When we had our bus tour in 2015, we got to go to the Leak Station in Crowder, Oklahoma. It still has remnants of its original Jefferson Highway gas station on the route. North McAllister, the route goes into is through the old business route, so it will not go on the main road. And what I went through this morning with road construction, I probably should have gone the other route anyway. But anyway, this is Old Town, North McAllister, and we're going right through that goes right through the heart of that. And they have some restored gas stations and stuff, and we're working with folks in McAllister now. We've been working with them for several years on further things. The Pittsburgh County Courthouse in McAllister, a lot of people don't know it. Was formerly the Busby Hotel, was right on the route, was in a lot of brochures for the Jefferson Highway tourists to stay in the hotel there. This is Atoka. There's a lot of, I just brought this image, and I know this gas station was built just a little bit after the highlight of the Jefferson Highway time period. Because what happened about the late 1920s, all roads like this, Lincoln, all these main highways, they went to numerical routing through the federal system. Route 66 started in around 1926, 1927. It was started as a numerical highway. It didn't have a name before that. But when they broke the Jefferson Highway up, at one time it was all supposed to be one routing number. Well, it didn't happen. So every state, and so time has just kind of evolved that, but it's still to us on the Jefferson Highway, even if it's a little bit after that time period, because the Jefferson Highway name was even used up in the 1930s for quite a while. Addo, we've had several of our people don't understand, people are traveling the route now. You probably don't know that they are, but they are. I just had some folks from Louisiana. In fact, they're coming back. They're coming back into Oklahoma. They live in the middle of Louisiana. They enjoy driving the route. A lot of people love coming to Caddo. It's like coming back in time. We had actually a documentary on the Jefferson Highways was produced a few years ago. It's kind of a humorous documentary about these gentlemen going all the way down the route. They're young guys, and they were really fascinated by Caddo. Sulphur Spring, Texas, one of the most beautiful courthouses you'll ever see. This picture doesn't even do justice. It's just beautiful. And Natchitoches was the site of our 2019 last conference we had before COVID hit. Wonderful time there. They are embracing the highway. They just named the new Jefferson Highway Park. Just in their downtown, just marked it. They have historic signage up in their town, and the route goes right down the center of this beautiful street, right on it. This is the end of the Jefferson Highway. This is one of my friends this was a pine to palm moment. This lady and her husband started in Winnipeg. Would have come right through here. Did come through here. And they got their picture at the end of the Jefferson Highway marker, which still stands today on St. Charles and Common Street. You can go down there. People take their picture there quite often on our page when they go there and take. We just had one the other day posted on there. So what is this? Okay, Roger, you're talking about all this, but what's this kind of travel we're talking about? What makes this interesting? So, historic highway travel is different, You know, some of you have been going on vacations, you're planning your vacations, you're going to, quote, a destination. So you're going to go to Hawaii or Disneyland or New York or something. You're looking for that destination type travel. So this is adventure travel. When you're on this, and we can, Route 66 has so much international tourism right now. It is quite amazing what is going on. They have Route 66 organizations in Japan, for example. They have people coming from just about all parts of the world. And one of the things is they want to see, they want that adventure. Every turn around these 2-lane highways is an adventure. It's fun. You don't know what you're going to find. I didn't know what I was going to find today. I did venture off on some of the old highway routes today, and it was kind of fun. It's a journey, not a destination. When you're on this highway, most roads you're going from point A to point B, and you're just trying to get to wherever you're trying to go. But these roads are different. They really invite us to kind of slow down and explore, and smell the roads. People, when you travel on these roads, you can't help but going into some of these places, museums, restaurants. You learn so much. I just got back from Missouri, where we had an event up there and gave a presentation up there. And the thing that I took back almost was how many new friends I met. I've got 4 or 5 people now emailing me, texting me about things along the route and things they enjoyed. But we just had a good time talking. The past, a lot of people don't, history is something, but I think everybody has a little bit of appreciation for the past. It's around every turn you see. You're always looking to see, something from the past or some remnant of something that is there. You don't have to be an historian to appreciate it. What can I say? Food is always good on these roads. Where else? You go on the main highway, you're going to see a lot of these things. But when you're in these diners, and man, I'll tell you what, I ate some great food on that Missouri trip, on some diners there. You really get to know where these places are in these towns. And the boring chain hotels really have been replaced. On our 2017 trip my family took, we tried to stay on historic lodging the whole way. And there is a grand hotel in Alexandria, Louisiana. It's unbelievable. We talked about this hotel. We stayed in St. Paul. We stayed in bed and breakfast. We lived in it, and it just made it so much more fun for us to do that. And I really encourage, especially in Oklahoma, we're looking, one of the things at the national level right now, we are starting a historic lodging association. We are trying to map all these and get them. We already have one member in Oklahoma, in Shakota, Oklahoma, at the Sharp House there, and it's kind of a bed and breakfast there, and she's become a member. We are looking. We have a lady in Louisiana that's really one of her forte, and so she's going to design us a logo, and we're working on that. Look for that in the next year or two, really to expand. It's an Americana experience. Travelers on this road are looking for experience. They can remember, they touch. That's why people go on Route 66. That's why they enjoy going on Route 66. That's why the international tourists enjoy Route 66. They can go to Disneyland, but they're not really seeing the heart of America. And you see it when you travel these roads. Culture and heritage play a critical role in economy. A recent survey showed that 50% of respondents that history and culture are strong influences in their choice of vacation. It's not everybody, but I think everybody does appreciate it. And it's one of the fastest growing sectors in tourism today. This is a friend of mine. He lives in middle of Jefferson Highway. It is in Amarillo, Texas. We will be our speaker at our upcoming conference next year. And I just asked him to kind of share a few things. Route 66 is so ingrained in Oklahoma, and obviously there's reasons for that. But here's his comments. The Jefferson Highway and Route 66 can be extremely complementary and work well together. The north-south route, which bisects Route 66, has much potential with a heritage byway. Oklahoma has a lot of great sites along and near the Jefferson Highway, and they must be capitalized. While the obvious target market for history and nostalgia retirees and baby boomers, do not underestimate millennials. They have more interest in traveling those road roads than people think. They just don't speak the same language. Leverage your technology, make it fun, keep it relevant. We see a lot of people on these old highways that are not, all ages. These are some things for communities. Reinforce, reinforce, reinforce. Consistency is the key. Own your roads in your area. Do not let a person miss the important piece of that history. Keep it in front of them. Be proud of your heritage. Every stakeholder needs to be conservative, converse in the basic history of the road, because they are your local masters. So we're not going to count on one person to do this. We need everybody to kind of know about it and get it out. That's where communities, and we need chambers and visitor bureaus and everything. We try that in my hometown of Scody. People at least have some knowledge about where to do it, where to get the information, and so on. We're starting to see a surge in media on the Jefferson Highway, not only locally, nationally. Statewide publication in Louisiana did a feature story on it last year. You see this is yours. It was on this magazine, built up on the Jefferson Highway a couple of years ago. There's another Brooklyn magazine coming. I'll talk about that a little bit here, but the state is going to start doing some things with us. They're going to have a Jefferson Highway website similar to what's on the Route 66, where you can go and see things along the route. It is going to happen. We were promised it in recent discussions with the tourism department. So what can you find if you're coming through Oklahoma right now? What is there to do? There's plenty to do. I couldn't go through all these restaurants, but there's a lot of places to go just along the route. Couldn't just come up, places I'd ate or I know. These are right on the highway route today. We want to get with these restaurants, let them know about the Jefferson Highway, let them get that going as we go forward. There's some eclectic, unusual things on the highway. People love finding weird things on the highway and taking their picture. And sometimes we have to create these stops. And we have some communities working. I know one in Mason City, Iowa, is working on a really cool project where they have a picture frame where you can take a selfie in, but it has information about the Jefferson Highway. So you're going to stand, and it's going to be up about a year from now. And you're going to stand inside, and you can take your picture, like you're part of the picture. People are doing those type of things to get people to stop in their communities and do it. And I got to go stop by the grill, and I'm really learning. He's still there. Picture. There's a lot of mom and pop restaurants. This is what we want to influence. This is these are our community. These are we don't want them to stop at the Walmarts on the long highway. This is the fun thing, the antique stores, the things that there are to see along. This is only the Oklahoma section. People on these route people, they love old bridges. And when you go driving, I drove by this bridge this morning. I was right there this morning. It's not my picture. I drove by that in Savannah and saw that bridge this morning. But there's a lot of these cool bridges, and this bridge is in my community. It's probably the biggest bridge still standing here in Oklahoma. It's a pedestrian type walkway bridge now, and these are actually tourists seeing that bridge a few years ago. There's a lot of things to do as we're going through these communities. It doesn't have to be around the highway. If you're going on a trip in Route 66, we usually stop at the Grand Canyon. That's not Route 66. You might go to Santa Fe. That's not on Route 66. But there are things here that we can, they're going to be around that people are going to want to see. This is increasing tourism interest in this area. The Oklahoma route, Route 66 doesn't, to me, touch the native part of our history of our state enough. People get a little bit of it, I guess, in some areas, but maybe up in Claremore and some of that. But here, we're right to the heart of what I call the Five Tribes region of Oklahoma, and the history and culture here just touches us so much. We have a very unique thing in Oklahoma called the All Black Towns. People come from all over the world. There's actually been All Black Town tours to see this historical thing. And we touch a lot of them right here right off the Jefferson route. Summit is actually Jefferson Highway town, and a lot of these are really close to the route. We're starting to see these are always excite me, and I just talked to Becky, I was excited this morning when I came to Springtown, Oklahoma, and looked over and saw the mural that they have put up there. This is in Caddo, Oklahoma. And far from us, we have this marker up in Muskogee. We have a lot of murals. We have some beautiful murals in Iowa up now. We have one in Missouri that's about ready to come up. And it's exciting to see that. Not far from you, this just happened a few weeks ago. The community, I've been talking with Becky, who's in the audience here, several years, but this is a grassroots effort to get these signs up. It is so exciting to see when you see something working like that and getting it done. But if you go through Springtown today, make sure you go off the highway, get on the Jefferson part of the route and see these signs, because they are up now. And I plan to see them on my way back. I didn't get to do it. One of the biggest news in our state this year is the Jefferson Highway bill passed, it was signed by the governor. We will have a ceremonial bill signing at the Capitol on August 4th. It fully establishes the Jefferson Highway route in Oklahoma, and it will also not officially fund signings, but it will allow for signings. And we are very excited. It's been a long time coming. We will be the second state to have done that now with Iowa, and others are kind of behind us. This is the Oklahoma Department of Transportation now official signage that we have been working with them on. I have a mock of it over there. It's actually a physical sign in our possession. You can feel free to look at it. It will be more round. It will be rounded like this, other than that square one. It uses a lot of the things that we have. The Iowa used this logo in the middle, so we want to keep the route consistent, and we use the new Oklahoma logo that they wanted to put on there. But this has been officially blessed by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. So our next step with them is to figure out all the routing and to come up with a plan where signage would be put along the route. So that's a very exciting news for us. One thing I definitely want to talk about is one of the most exciting things in my organization right now is this program. It's only about a year and a half, 2 years old. Of course, it got off the ground at a bad time with COVID and everything, but we have a new program where we have a national historic marker program. I have the brochures of it over there, and we have about, I don't know, we're in the 20s now. We have about that or more in the pipeline right now. We just had last week, Iowa Falls, Iowa is buying 7 of them, and there's another community buying 4 or 5 up in Missouri. What we have is they're already up in some areas. This one's in right in Front Street in Natchitoches. This one's in Kansas. This one in Iowa, and this one is close to you in Durant. If you go down there, right where the art alley is right now down there, they have put this right on the building. They are sponsored by somebody, each one of them, sometimes Visitor Bureau. The Rotary Clubs have sponsored a lot of them. They are not expensive. We are getting these at cost. They're very good quality. We're talking $75 to get them. Maybe some shipping, obviously you're going to mount them. But it's an exciting project. I don't know another historic highway that has such a program like this where you have these signs as you go into communities. It's going to get people to get off and stop at them. I'm working on a deal in my hotel in Muskogee. We're actually going to put QR codes on the signs where somebody can actually scan that if they want to, and they can actually go back and look what was there, or look at a vision of the past from that QR code. We have a brand new exhibit in Muskogee in a museum there, interactive with some video. It tells you, basically it takes you the whole route of going through Muskogee. It's kind of humorous and has a guy in Model T. We worked on it pretty hard, and just wanted to show that. We are working on one of the biggest issues we have is a route guide. You can't pick up really a guide today to say how I want to do the route. Now, I didn't show that on here, but we do have on our website, jeffersonhighway.org. If you go there, you will see a link to a Google map. So you can go on to a Google map and get on what we have as the routing. But it's not really the official routing yet in Oklahoma. But we know we need to do a route guide, and we are working on some things. It may take us a while, but we have some people that are working with us that I think are going to get us there at some point in time. And so look for that in the future. We really are giving communities a challenge to have something in your community. Work on, brainstorm, make it fun, but think about something that's fun to get people in your community. Some of it has to do with the community itself. Some of it are just, well, we talked about this. This sign is up in Denison, Texas, right now. We do Shakota. They put up their marker several years ago before any of this was going on. This is a cool thing in Harrisonville, Missouri, where you can see the whole route of the highway. People take their pictures there. This is in Lamoni, Iowa. Wonderful mural there. And the community did that with an old gas station, and really cool thing. This is a Lincoln and Jefferson Highway park in Iowa that was dedicated 2 years ago. This is a new park in Natchitoches that they did with a wonderful marker there with the mayor and their governor. One of the things we're going to be doing soon is doing a state association. We are working, we had a board meeting last night actually for the national group, and we're going to be working on trying to form a state organization. We have some good friends along the route. One of them is the prior Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce president. She wants to help plan this and get involved in this, so we're going to let her take some of that on, and we're excited. She wants to do a mailing newsletter and all kinds of things that she's got in her plan. Prior, we're excited about it. We will, after not having anything in COVID, we were supposed to be in Mason City, Iowa this year, and we're looking forward to that. We had, of course, canceled everything going on, but we will be in not that far from here, in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Our conference is shaping up into a good conference. One of the things interesting in Pittsburgh, can't see it too good here, but they have an original Jefferson Highway garage. At one time, most communities had a garage that was named Jefferson Highway Garage. It was almost like I don't think it was a franchise, everybody had to have one or something. And, they have a remaining one that still has the sign out front, and we will be meeting in that building during the conference. One of the things that I'm here today, probably as much to start discussion, is now talking with the state, with the signage, is we are going to have to fully designate the route. And some communities, mine is not hard. There are a few that are pretty, we have to make some, I would call, calls that make logical sense, because the old route still changed, maybe the bridge is no longer there, maybe it's a gravel road, or whatever it is. We have to make some calls on some of this. One community I'm dealing with is Wagner, there's a couple other ones, but I think Atoka would be one of those. We want to understand what makes the most sense as we route it. The green, I know you can't see this very well, but the green is what we have now, which is basically just the main highway through here. But we want to get them off. We want to get them off in your downtown. You can see the original route as it went through here, through Ohio, into town. So we're going to probably find a way to get them off here and route them through this area. I haven't, maybe you all, I'm still learning a few things. I know more about the northern part of the state than I do this part, but, I don't know, but I assume this road is not usable, but we can find ways to route them through here, right into your heart of your downtown, because that's what we want. And it was on the route, so Ohio was the main route through Jefferson Highway. We could use your support as we go forward. We have a national group. It's not expensive, $25 a year for a member, $35, keeps you in the loop. You get our journal, which is a really good journal, has a lot of information. We just had one out. We give you discounted things. So it's just one of those things that keep us all together. As we go into these national and state organizations, we'll be working as a part of that to get this going. It is coming, and we're excited about the future. Old roads still have a lot to offer us in the speed up world we live. This is the Jefferson Highway Bridge in Muskogee, Oklahoma. My hometown. It was built in 1921, specifically for Jefferson Highway travel, and it still stands today. It's just it's something that people just really sit there and get off the highway and enjoy the adventure and see things like that. It's just really good. Okay, do I have any questions? That's all I have for my presentation. Again, I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be around for a little bit. Anybody wants to visit with me on any topic on the Jefferson Highway. I hope that we can get communities excited about the future. As we start getting signage up, we start seeing promotions from the state level, even a national level, as we get going. I'm excited to be part of it. I've been involved in the Jefferson Highway Association board for about 3 or 4 years ago, but was just recently elected to be president. And my goal is to get things moving and to be a part of the excitement. So I look forward to visiting with anybody anytime. I have my business cards over here. You can email me any idea or anything you have. And also our Facebook pages are very active. I recommend you go on there. There's almost something every day on our pages, up and down around. So you'll enjoy if you have it. Just like it and check that out.